Hello everyone, welcome to the daily review from the Breeders' Cup, the Del Mar racetrack. It is October the 30th, Wednesday. Well, the day started with news on social media that Notable Speech was allegedly out of the Breeders' Cup. We caught up with William Buick, who sat on Notable Speech today, and he is well and truly in the Breeders' Cup. Elsewhere, we managed to catch up once again with Aidan O'Brien. You have to speak to Aidan every day. We did speak to Ryan Moore. That will surprise one or two of you. We spoke to Archie Watson, to James Doyle, to Tom Marquand, and of course, to Sky Sports Racing's very own Hollie Doyle. Enjoy. Well, Ryan Moore joins me, of course, the rider of City of Troy. Ryan, for those of us who don't ride on these different surfaces, as a jockey, can you give us any idea what it's like when those gates open on dirt compared to turf? I mean, from our point of view, it just looks like dirt riding is going hell for leather and you just crack on. As a jockey, what's it like?
Look, every race will be different, so yeah, I'm sure they'll be very aggressive early.
I mean, this horse is by Justify. Everyone's saying that's the great hope that means he might operate on the dirt, but obviously he's been brilliant on turf. How, in your mind, how likely is it that he can produce his turf form on a dirt surface?
Well, some horses have transferred straight away from turf to dirt. Some don't. We really don't know. But we know he's a very good horse with high level of ability, and his run style should lend himself well to the conditions. So then we'll just need some luck on the day.
In you, do you appreciate how important this is for Aidan and the team? Like, this is a big, big deal for them.
Yeah, of course I do. I'm very aware of what's expected, and but we know that the task in front of him is big, so we'll just execute it the best we can.
You rode, it's funny how things come around, you rode Mendelssohn in the Kentucky Derby when Justify won that Kentucky Derby. So it's all come together, and Mendelssohn was the last horse that Aidan ran in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, that's all true. I don't know what you want me to add to that, Matt.
No, but it's just funny old game, isn't it? How things come around in this sport, just on breeding and stuff. You end up really riding family members, and here you are trying to propel Justify forward as a stallion, etc. Essentially, and you've ridden against him on Aidan's last horse who ran it.
Yeah, Justify's doing it all. So look, this is a great horse, but I don't think I have any bearing really on how good the stallion is proving to be.
We feel he's a great horse because of his form. Just as the rider of this horse, what makes him great for you?
I think he's got a incredible action. He's got a unique action, and for me, he's a horse that can maintain a high level of speed for a long time.
Well, it's all about being a team player out here at Breeders' Cup, and everyone wants City of Troy to win the Classic, so I am part of the team now. Take this off for this, Aidan. He was quite sweaty yesterday. Yeah. Was he less sweaty today?
I think he was, Matt. Listen, that wouldn't be unusual. You'd probably like to see that, because that means that he's very alert and he's taking in everything. If he went around there asleep, you'd say that he was just in a daze, but he was sharp, and today I thought he was even sharper but less sweaty, so obviously more focused. And I think everything went well today.
How's it feel being Aidan O'Brien at a meeting like this, where you do interview after interview after interview, always a gentleman? I mean, is there any stage that you ever feel like just saying to us, just go away, give me some space?
Not really, no. Everybody has their job to do, and we appreciate that, and it's a great week here, and we're delighted to be here, and delighted to be part of it, delighted to have the horses to compete, and no, we respect everybody, and I know everybody gives us the respect, so we try and give it back.
I know yesterday was a tense day, hopefully today's a little bit easier. Just with City of Troy, what if you were me right now, like what question almost would you be asking you about him. What's the thing you're most worried about on Saturday?
Yeah, sure, I don't know. We think we have all the things done that we can do, and obviously after Saturday there'll be probably something else we'll say, like, why didn't we do that? But we think at the moment we have looked under every stone that we can. Obviously we're coming from a different continent, running on a different surface in a different pace of race, a lot of different stuff, but we think and feel at the moment we have prepared him the best we can. Whether that's good enough, I don't know. We feel the horse is an unbelievable horse, the best horse we've ever had. Like, obviously we feel Ryan is unbelievable, won't absolutely, if it's good enough it'll happen, and it was our job to prepare him for Ryan, and then hopefully we need some of the ducks to fall in a row, some of the variables that we can't control to fall our way rather than against us. But they could fall against us very quickly, but who knows. We have to do our best here, try, and look forward to the result either ways.
And do you feel, obviously it's a joint decision, but John Magnier is, for me anyway, the chief. He's almost the godfather of Coolmore. Triple Crown and a Breeders' Cup Classic. Do you feel that those are the two things that if he could achieve would give him the biggest kick?
Yeah, so obviously John went and got Justify in America. We didn't think he could be got, and he went and got him and brought him back, and he was the horse he wanted all the time. Obviously he's a Triple Crown winning, unbeaten 3-year-old, looks like a big quarter horse, and he was able to get 1.5 miles in the Belmont. So he's probably the most unique specimen of a Turbo that we've ever seen. He's by Scat Daddy, and he was the last of the Scat Daddies, and he just obviously disappeared after that. And for us it was the most exciting thing of all ever, to have a horse that could get grass horses and dirt horses similar, to have the ability that we hoped that to have, and obviously Justify and the filly that came in his first crop. So it's hard to believe really what has happened and what's happening so far.
When Justify beat Mendelssohn in the Kentucky Derby, obviously Mendelssohn I think was back in 5th, 7th, somewhere down the field anyway. I guess that day you could never believe that you'd end up training a horse like City of Troy, who be by Justify. I mean, this game has a strange way of all coming together.
Yeah, absolutely. We watched Justify racing, and sure, we couldn't, our mouths used to be open looking at him. We knew that he was different than any thoroughbred that's ever went before, because of his size and his strength and his scope and his power and his stamina and his speed all rolled into one, you know. So like, for the boss to go and get him was just incredible for us, and that's what keeps us all going. It's something different, something unique, something could happen that has never happened before really. And then obviously City of Troy to come along was just out of this world really.
Straight after the Cheveley Park, you said to me that Ryan had said, right, Filly's Mile for Lake Victoria. There was a change of plan. Well, in many ways the question is, why is Lake Victoria here when a lot of people think she's the one to beat in the 1,000 guineas next year?
Yeah, obviously John and Sue and Michael and Dorian and Gay and Derek, they decided, and obviously George and Emily, that well, obviously not the lads. The three lads obviously bought the mare, brought her back and sent her to Frankel. And when Ryan said that after, the lad said that if she was going to go a mile, this was the place to go. The Filly's Mile maybe would be might be too disrespectful of her to go back to the Filly's Mile 2 weeks after she won the Cheveley Park, after coming from a 7 back to a 6 and back up to a mile. But that was Ryan's confidence that he had in her. He said that the minute he came in, he said, come back here for the Filly's Mile. And then obviously the lads decided if we were going to go a mile with her this year, this was the place to go. Lovely flat track, an easy mile, and it's probably a lesser. It was probably, and it was a more gradual step up for her. But she's a beautiful filly, unique filly to do what she has done, and yeah, she could be very exciting watching her really.
Bad news yesterday was Ylang Ylang coming out. We presume Ryan Moore switches to content?
He does, yes, absolutely. Ylang Ylang, the lads thought that she maybe didn't take the journey too well, and there was a little bit down in herself, and it was the right thing not to run.
Let's just clear this up, Aidan. There was no, because the Australians all saying, oh, you ask Aidan O'Brien about Ylang Ylang and her scan. There was no scan with Ylang Ylang, was there? There's no need for one.
Oh no, she was just a little bit down in herself, a little bit quiet, and John discussed it with Vince, and they just felt, I think, it was the right thing that she wouldn't run. It wasn't fair to run her, and I think they did a blood on her. Her blood wasn't right. Her blood cells were a little bit wrong, and obviously then she was a little bit under the weather, so that was the right thing, 100%, yeah.
So this was a classic case of the Coolmore vets doing the best for their horse, doing the right thing.
Well, I think we always do. We always put the horse first and be totally respectful of the horse first. And obviously when they race, the two most important things are the jockey and the horse, and both come back safe. That's all that matters. Obviously jockey one, horse two, but it's their health is always put in front of every decision that we approach any race with.
Well, when I woke up this morning at 5:30 a.m. local time, I went straight on X and everyone told me Notable Speech was out of the Breeders' Cup and all hell had broken loose. I messaged Charlie Appleby, he said the horse was absolutely fine, and then I saw William Buick go out on him. I better just ask you though, Will, when you went out on Notable Speech, 4 legs, a tail, everything working?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of any of that at all, and I wasn't until you just said that then. So he felt great this morning. Very happy, fresh, well, showed his well-being, and he had a good spin around the turf track.
Ever since those days at Kempton, before he won guineas, etc., in the back of your mind were you thinking, oh, this could be a Breeders' Cup horse?
Well, it's a long way from Kempton to the Breeders' Cup, but
that turn of foot.
Yeah, I think we were sort of, you like to think not too far ahead, so hard to say we were thinking about a Breeders' Cup back then at Kempton, but he showed that he was a very good horse with a great turn of foot, and he obviously ended up being our guineas horse, and which he won so well. So he's the way he races with his turn of foot, his temperament, everything. He's pretty tailor-made for a 2-turn mile over here.
You know all about comparing the fillies and the colts. That 1,000 guineas form compared to the colts form. In your mind, is it quite simple that the colt is probably a slightly better class?
Certainly, off the guineas form, you probably would say that. But I have huge respect for Porta Fortuna. I thought she looked very good when she won the matron, and again, she ran well in the juvenile fillies turf last year, so she has that experience of racing on an American track. She's a good filly, so. But naturally, you would obviously, as far as the guineas go, you'd say the guineas was a stronger race, but we're here and we all have a chance.
Rebels Romance owes you a turf because, of course, James Doyle was on board Rebels Romance when he won it. I mean, he's just archetypal Godolphin, isn't he? Globe-trotting superstar.
Yeah, he really is a superstar, and he's won in Qatar, Dubai, Hong Kong, and Germany, and he ran a great race. He was third in the King George, so he's back in America now, and he got drawn in 11, which probably isn't a help, but equally it's a mile and a half around here, and you have a bit of a run into the first turn, so hopefully we can funnel our way in somewhere, and he has that experience on these tracks, and he's a very good, uncomplicated horse.
I mean, that's the thing with him. He's not a deep closer. He's not a front runner. So you just, as you've just said, slot in wherever he feels happy. Yeah?
He's very much like that. You can kind of do anything on him. He's very. He reacts very well to all sorts of circumstances, really, and it will depend on the pace. So we will see on the day.
Do you feel Alcudra's better than we saw against New Century last time? Because, of course, Alcudra beat New Century the time before.
Yeah, he did, but New Century, in fairness, has probably improved. And, obviously, Alcudra got a bump at Woodbine, which didn't help him. Equally, I thought New Century was
you were beat at the time, weren't you?
Won well that day, and I don't think it was a result-changing sort of thing that happened. And but he's a good, solid horse, Alcudra, and he's got a kind draw. And I think he will improve. He will keep improving. He likes fast ground. He's got plenty of streetwise. He's a solid horse. Obviously, I ride a Moore City, who didn't get drawn very well in 12, but that's one of those things. And he's, there's going to have to probably be 2 slightly different parts of the race that we're going to be.
The one thing that made you choose a Moore over Alcudra? Or do you just think he might be better?
No, I mean, it was one of those. There wasn't there wasn't anything between them. Obviously, the draw has influenced now a little bit, but obviously the horses have to be jocked up before the draws come out, so that's the way it is. But Amore City's he was a good vintage winner, and I thought he ran a good race in National Stakes at the Curragh. So, again, I think he has a bit of improvement in him. We're just going to need a good bit of luck from 12.
Finally, Cinderella's Dream obviously has the stateside form. So, I mean, she could almost actually on paper be the best out there of you and Charlie.
Yeah, she's very talented, and she's really taken to American racing. She's been impressive in her 2 starts over here, and first time going a mile and 3. So we'll see about that. But I think she's she travels well, she relaxes, and she has that great turn of foot. So she's very exciting.
Of course, we spoke to Christophe Lemaire yesterday. He's got his own clothing Buick. You don't miss him. It's there. We wish you all the best.
Just in case I forget.
Or me. The Doyle is here. No, I'm not on this occasion. Hollie Doyle, James Doyle, of course, Wathnan's #1. Got Hysterious in the juvenile. He's obviously a quick horse.
Yeah, that's what he's about. I think I probably got it wrong on him at Goodwood, where I just tried to ride him a bit more conservatively, and it didn't work. So we went to Paris and just let him use that stride, and we did that at Doncaster, and it definitely seems to suit him. As we know, that they were all in a straight line and we're going round a turn, but he's trained very well round a bend.
But a tight bend. I mean, when you talk about a horse with a lovely long stride and letting him get into it, it's not so easy to get into a long stride here.
No, we went round a tight bend. We actually went anti-clockwise around Kempton, round the kind of the bend after the winning post, so we went the wrong way round. So that's as tight as you can get, really. And yeah, he went round it like he was on rails. So very pleasing.
Will has ditched Al Qudra, but he links form very close with New Century, who a lot of people fancy. He's probably a bit better than we saw last time. He did get hampered a bit, but I thought he was beat at the time. Yeah,
he didn't quite get the rub of the green, did he? But I agree. He probably looked like he kind of got hampered because he wasn't going well. I think Charlie's been quoted saying he felt like he wasn't on his A game that day. So if he can bounce back to his best, then he doesn't have to improve a lot. If you look at New Century as the favourite.
It's great to have Tom Marquand here at the Breeders' Cup for Big Evs. I mean, whatever he does this time around, Tom, you'll never forget last year.
Yeah, for sure. It was obviously a lot of fun last year, and just to be coming back with him this year is exciting in itself. But he looks and feels great as spanning around the grass just then, and all systems go.
Both you and the missus, Hollie, drawn out wide. When the draw came out, did you kind of just look at each other and go, oh no?
Look, obviously I'd have chosen where we were last year over what we are this year, but I think one of our saving graces might be is that we've got Cogburn out with us. Bradsell's very fast, Big Evs is very fast, and so is Cogburn, and you never quite know the sort of early dynamics of a race of that speed. Because such little margins can change it massively. But I'd imagine if Cogburn went forward and got across the field, and if we're fast enough to live with him, hopefully it won't pose too much of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that might work. He's in 9, isn't he? And that might just work well. And the fact he's a local horse, and look, he'd have to massively miss the break not to do what he usually does, which is just boil out. That actually could almost work in your favour.
Yeah, for sure.
Why do you get out?
Yeah, that's the sort of second issue you have. Obviously, he was extremely fast out the gates last year, and he has been on most of his starts. But he does have to be on Saturday, so it's not a given. It's more something you hope for. But look, I'd have loved a lower draw, but we haven't got it, so we'll have to deal with the cards we've been dealt.
Bradsell, we've spoken to Tom. This wide draw, I mean, Thomas is going to try and muck you up. You're going to try and muck Tom up. I mean, it's tricky, isn't it, when you're out wide?
Yeah, it's tricky. Most of the fancied horses are drawn, four widest gates, but we've got plenty of gate speed. He's proven to be one of the quickest in Europe, but obviously a different kettle of fish, isn't it? American speed's a lot different, especially the gate speed side of things, but we'll always have to ride him very positive and just see how we fare, really. Yeah,
we were chatting to Tom and talking about the fact that Cogburn's likely to go forward for 9, but that might just make things a little bit tricky for those drawn lower, and might just mean that there could be some plain sailing out wide.
Yeah, obviously with Cogburn being drawn quite wide as well is probably a bonus, because he'll give us all quite a nice lead across that rail. But obviously that's in hindsight. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but that would be the plan anyway.
Now, off camera, Tom and I were talking about the fact that we're stunned that racing nations, not only Great Britain, around the world, don't make more about you and Tom, husband and wife, etc. Now, he was saying, look, we kind of don't like it, but we also completely understand, and we're kind of almost surprised that people aren't making more of it. You've known Tom, what, since you were 14?
Yeah, we met when we were 14, pony racing, and yeah, we've kind of just grown together, really, and it's been a bad journey so far.
I mean, but when you were 14, if someone had said to you, you're going to end up in the Breeders' Cup turf sprint drawn next to each other, I mean, it's a stuff of a movie.
Yeah, it is weird from the outside looking in. For Tom and I, it's just the normal, really. And, you know, when I saw the draws in outside, I thought, oh, Tom's on my inside, not a big deal, really. You know, I don't think, oh, Tom's on my inside, I better watch out or anything like that. It's just normal. He's just another jockey in another race for me.
Which you want to beat.
Definitely, yeah. If I'm not winning, I hope he is. So.
Because there was a story after, and I know this wasn't a deliberate, after the Abbey when he won on Makarova and you got beat on Bradsell, and you got separate planes home. But I'm told that was already planned. Yeah,
yeah, that was already planned. That wasn't due to circumstances after the race. No, I didn't take that very well. I couldn't believe it, to be honest, in getting beaten in the Abbey. But the ground was against us that day and in her favour. But yeah, at least it was Tom.
Well, it's such a great story, and if Bradsell wins, everyone will be delighted for you. Wish you all the best.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers.
Well, for many people, the return of Bradsell has been one of the highlights of 2024, because there was a time when we thought maybe he would never get back to his best, but he was a brilliant 2-year-old, and now he's a brilliant older horse.
Yeah, he is. Look, he's done it every year, 2, 3 and 4. He's obviously had a couple of setbacks along the way, but yeah, look, bringing him back this year, and you know, from August onwards, he's had a fantastic time, but really he won a listed race in France, then he won the Nunthorpe, the Flying 5, and he was a very brave second on bad ground in the Abbey, and it's great to have him here in Delmar, yeah.
There's really only one question one can ask about Bradsell, because we know if this was a conventional race, he'd have every chance of winning it. But he's on a bend and he's drawn out wide. You have to hope that Cogburn goes forward maybe and tows you in, but then you want to be doing the towing. It's complicated out there, isn't it?
I don't want to be doing the towing. I was actually very happy with the sort of, obviously before the draw, with the fact that Cogburn would do the towing for us and we could hopefully just follow him round. 12 of 12 isn't ideal. There's no two ways to say it, but Cogburn is in 9 and he is the pace, I'd imagine. I was just talking to Tom Marquand, and obviously Big Evs is a very quick horse as well, and he's an 11 and we're a very quick horse in 12, so you know, it's not impossible that the pace could get across from wide, you know, it's not the end of the world, and very happy with him, and we know that he's got a lot of gate speed, and there's not really a horse in Europe that could take him off the bridle, you know, over a quick 5, so hopefully he'll have the speed to just get across and travel away nicely, yeah.
He's been in all sorts of ground. Are you sure that the surface out here, the quick surface, is what he wants?
Yeah, I am, yeah. He definitely didn't want the heavy ground in France. That sort of last rainfall on the day didn't help. His form before that has all been on sort of good and quicker, and you know, that Royal Ascot, well, one of the Royal Ascots that he won was very quick ground, and you know, I do think that's what he likes, yeah.
And it's been a little while since I've actually interviewed you, Archie. Like, just your general career sort of thing, how it's gone. Like, you started off a little bit like a David Loader, where I don't know if you remember David Loader, but when he trained, you know, he'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 8 juveniles win, and then he'd have one get beat and he'd be distraught for the rest of the year. It was a bit like that, but things have changed now, and you've kind of settled into a rhythm. But how, if you were giving yourself a report, how would you say it's gone?
Well, as a whole, I couldn't be happier, really. I mean, this year in particular, we've had a great year. You know, I think we've had 13 stakes winners this year, which I'd say a lot of people wouldn't probably sort of had noticed, maybe because we're quite creative about where we send them sometimes. You know, Germany and Italy and France and, you know, Qatar and places like that. But, you know, obviously Bradsell's been our standard bearer, and Asterius as well. You know, I think we've had a very good year, and obviously I'm very happy from, in terms of the great scheme of things, where we've come from. 2016, we started with 3 horses and no owners, and I went to the July sale and spec'd 3 horses and just sort of started training, you know. So it's gone phenomenally from that point of view. It's now just a case of, you know, trying to consolidate and keep building up the quality, which is probably the difference between what you were saying, those sort of early 2-year-old types, you know, which were the sort of 10, 12 grand horses that we bought when we first started, you know, to try and hopefully get scent horses more like Asterius. Yeah.
Well, I mean, everyone wants a Wathnan coming their way. You've got that with Asterius, and James Doyle was telling us that this horse with a lovely stride, you just want to let him use it.
Yeah, look, he's the most gorgeous horse. I'm sure you'll all see him here, and he's not a typical Memas. You know, he's got a lot of quality about him. He's not that sort of typical butty, sprintery, you know, hardy 2-year-old type. He's got a lot of scope, and he's just a lovely horse. And like James says, he's got a big stride on him, and thankfully he's drawn well. So, and he's a very quick horse. Both of them have been to the stalls today and gate schooled, as they call it over here, and very happy. Both jump quick, and you know, which is probably going to be key, especially with Asterius, to get out and forward in two. Yeah.
Wish you all the best. Good luck, Jim.
Thanks very much, Matt. Thank you.
Well, I think it's fair to say, though I say it myself, another really fascinating morning at Delmar for the Breeders' Cup. We will, of course, be back tomorrow to bring you all the big news.